should be barricaded in your house and kept off of the street, or sterilized, lobotomized, left in a car and eat. That's the things you see and do. Tell me your brain cells off a few, and that is why I hate you.
What's up, everybody?
I cannot hear anything. Yay!
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's the music.
Oh.
That is why I hate you.
Hey, everybody. We're back for a new episode. Oh, man, I got gas. I hope
After
it shows up on the mic.
A century of not recording anything. I didn't, and I didn't want to. Okay,
good. I'm glad it didn't come through the microphone. my cheeks feel warm now.
Gross.
I just got back from... I was supposed to bring my son to a pulmonologist after he was in the hospital with pneumonia early in December. And I got to the office, and they were like, he's supposed to be in Westchester. And they said, why would I wouldn't make the appointment. The hospital made everything.
Yeah.
The hospital, we said, yeah, is there anybody in Middletown where, around where we live? And they said, yeah. And they made the appointment, gave it to us. They told us the address and everything. And I got there and they said, no, you're supposed to be in Westchester, New York. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to make it there in 5 minutes. So, and then I called to tell them and I said, oh, she said that doctor doesn't go to Middletown at all. And I said, oh, okay. Well, I guess we have to come down there. And she's like, oh no, there's other pulmonologists that come up there. I was like, okay, so somebody just fucked up. So now we have to wait till like May to go for the appointment. Jeez. Which whatever, like he's okay.
Yeah, so, but they want to do the follow up and they want to get paid. So I'm losing irritating. A lot of faith. I'm losing so much faith in like medical practices right now. Like,
I don't even
not even
get
stuff
started.
That's dealing with me directly, but like I have a friend whose daughter is losing her eyesight.
Like some sort of macular
she has
degeneration?
It's some kind of like they spent years trying to figure it out, and I don't want to get into like the details of it, but she is losing her eyesight, and it's something that she has like a 50-50 chance of losing her sight with surgery, losing or stopping the degeneration through surgery.
Right.
But like it started with a bacteria, so she has the bacteria in her eyes, and they have to do she has to take antibiotics. They said, well, if she's on antibiotics, she can't do the surgery. But she has to be on antibiotics because she has the thing infecting her eye that you need to do the surgery on. And then went back and forth and didn't tell her until last minute that they were canceling.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And this girl is bad.
This past week, I had a whole litany of appointments lined up and had to cancel all of them because I had COVID. So it was awesome and now I'm like, I gotta wait.
That explains like how, because every time you get like quiet, I think you're pissed off at me for some reason because I'm obsessive like that and selfish.
I might just be pissed off in general.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm just like, I think he's mad. I'm not going to bother him. And she's like, what other mood? My wife looks at me and goes, what other mood does Matt have?
Other than angry? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just it's not you. I'm sure it's not you.
It depends. If I'm stoned, I'm a little more happy. Like last night I was in a good mood. And I had all these, on our topic, I had all these great things in my head that I wanted to say. And I was stoned, so I was just coming up with all these. I wasn't stoned. I was just a little buzzed. I just kept coming up with all these great arguments. I'm like, yeah. I don't remember any of them now.
Since
all these great things
we did talk, when I was like, I have so many things I want to mention, even low-cal stuff that has nothing to do with Cyrax, all of a sudden new Cyrax shit comes out today.
No, not Cyrax.
And so it was just kind of funny how that worked out, and the sheer fact that I ended up in an argument, an internet argument that I made a comment on like earlier this week. I just made a comment on somebody saying some stupid shit or putting up an opinion I thought was stupid, obviously. And I just I said my piece, and it turned into like a back and forth that I had to stop because the person showed how stupid or how incapable they are of thinking outside of their own bubble. I know this is more closer to our topic, but I have to get off my chest before I forget, and my phone's going to die, and that's how I have the reference. So somebody posted something on the new Mortal Kombat movie that's coming out, right?
The second one. Well, the
we
second
had
in the new.
the second in the new continuity of the movies, and the
Sure.
guy who played Liu Kang, who I thought was fine. I mean, he was in the background, so we didn't have much like
Right.
in way of who
Not
he
a lot to
was,
go
but
on. Yeah.
he looked fine in the role. Well,
Okay.
apparently they have a side by side picture of him during the movie and him now, and he's like jacked, like he definitely has like the HGH body
Yeah,
that
I
like
mean
all
that's
actors have now.
like Hugh Jackman. Every time he played Wolverine, he did that. Like every that happens
Yeah,
every movie. I mean,
Chris
remember
Pratt,
Kumail
all of them.
Nanjiani? Like when before he was in Eternals,
Yeah,
and he's
he
just like
like
all of a sudden.
that is the Hollywood HGH body.
Yeah, I mean, he
Like
was
they
he
just
was a
look like comic
skinny
book
little
heroes,
comic, and then all of a sudden he's just jacked, just ripped.
fucking jacked.
And it's like,
It's
yeah,
like
that's
just
not normal.
same thing with like I think Alan Richardson, the guy that played Thad in Blue Mountain State. That guy, he's like, I'm natural. I'm like, bro, you are not. Like you did Reacher season 1, and then season 2, like you got that weird body, which is fine.
Dude.
That's
Oh, that's fine.
you're
But
selling
hey,
your body as an actor, but don't
they
tell
do the
me
same
it's
thing.
natural.
They do the same thing to us that women have beauty standards. We got things we got to
Yeah.
live up to too.
Oh,
that
yeah, no,
couldn't be
it's-
in
it's-
these movies.
The only thing that's
No, it's bad
uneven is
for
the
us.
propaganda. All the
Sure,
way we
sure.
treat other humans is the same. It's just that we propagate however we want to. So anyway, so somebody posts this and people are talking about like, he's not big enough to be Liu Kang. Liu Kang
Liu
is
Kang-
big. And
No, he's
I'm like,
not.
Liu Kang is a small fucking dude.
Yeah,
I've been playing Mortal Kombat since Mortal Kombat started. Like my dad
dude,
got in trouble
he's
for letting me play Mortal
correct.
Kombat.
Right, me too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
he's based on Bruce Lee, right?
Well,
Like
I'm
the
glad you
idea?
said that. So I commented, I go, Liu Kang was based off of Bruce Lee extremely closely. They only changed
Right.
him in the second game to not make him look like Bruce Lee, but the first game was clearly Bruce Lee.
Right.
And he's always fight-wise and character-wise, yeah, he's supposed to be Bruce Lee. He was not big at all, just really fit. What the fuck is this? That was my reply, my statement.
Yep, sensible.
Some dude replied to me. This is 6 hours ago. I just relooked. Oh no, that's sorry. Oh, the asshole deleted his comment.
He did.
Or he blocked me. He
Or he
either
blo- he
deleted
probably
his
blocked you.
comment or blocked me. Yep, he blocked
Well, you
me.
didn't agree with him.
So I'm glad I remembered what he said. He said, Bruce. He goes, just because he was based off of Bruce Lee doesn't mean that just because he's based off of Bruce Lee doesn't mean that he has to be that small, because Liu Kang in MK9 was big. I go, okay. I go,
So you picked
I just relooked
your generation.
well, I go, I just relooked at the model from MK9. Despite everyone looking like wax action figures, he was still pretty small because they all like had the same rig where the shoulders were really wide.
Right.
If he had more human shoulders, he would be a small dude. But everybody was
even
big
if
and
he was
clunky in 9.
gigantic.
And I loved 9.
Sure, but even if he was
Sorry.
gigantic, so he just cherry picked. He's like, that's the one I like the best, so that's what it should look like.
But you'll see why I stopped the conversation. He was a little bigger and wider. Action figure. He is still pretty small. In MK11, he was a little bigger and wider, but that's still one game compared to the entire catalog of the games this character was in, where he was still smaller.
Yeah.
He replied, and I remember this reply because I directly said something. He goes, no one cares about the entire catalog of games. We're basing it on not based on the movies, that he is based on the recent games. Something like that. Like, he's based off of the recent games. And
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Makes
the
no
current
sense.
movies based on the games? You seriously just said that. That was my response. You seriously just said that. Okay,
The
I'm
current
done with the
movies
internet
are based
for
on the
today.
games.
And
So the new
I kind of wish I didn't end it there, because I was like, wait, you referenced a game that came out 13 years ago to make your point, and then contradicted it in the next statement by saying no one cares about the entire catalog. Are you saying 13 years ago was recent?
Dude, our mutual friend Rock put out an album like 15 plus years ago now that has one song about arguing on the internet, and it's the one line, argue on the internet, even when you win, you lose. It's it's so accurate.
Yeah, I'm just but like
doesn't make sense.
I can't believe I seriously cannot believe he blocked me. I'm very upset he pussed out. He or she, I don't know if it's a girl, but I'm assuming it's a dude.
I'm kind of
Pussed
surprised
out and blocked me.
Because that's unusual for just like a random YouTube comment section to do that. Whatever.
This was Instagram.
You don't want to hear
you surprisingly, but yeah.
Either way, you made he or she realize they were wrong, and then they were just like, yeah, I don't want to be wrong.
And instead of just owning up to it, like, okay, fine. I see the logical fallacy here.
Right.
They just fucking blocked me.
Yeah. I don't want to be in what you're invading my bubble. What are you doing? Get out of here.
I thought it I was just like, how the fuck and mind you, that wasn't like the only time I ran into that. Because the big thing I wanted to talk to you about was, have you ever heard of a guy on YouTube called MamaMax?
I don't think so.
So MamaMax is is a self-proclaimed pedo hunter, like in the vein of like
dude,
To Catch a Predator.
Okay, so just quick, this is a really good thing to get into because my brother has been he's worked with one of these networks, these like civilian networks for a while. And I just literally signed up because they had a deal on the they do it on YouTube, Rumble, and Locals. I just did their like membership thing to be able to watch the videos, and I've been watching them the last few days. So go ahead. These like pedophile hunters, these civilian pedophile hunters.
So MamaMax is like very dramatic. Like he based like his videos off of Hotline Miami, where he plays this character with this deep voice, but he takes like real life.
Right.
Like pedo things and puts in his videos, allegedly.
Okay.
Because now my sister, when she introduced me to his stuff, like I want to say 3 years ago, maybe less. I didn't really follow it much because one, it was way too over dramatized for the serious situations, and two, I just thought he was a troll to pedophiles. I thought he just trolled them online. Like he's just like, I'm just gonna expose you, and he exposes like, hey, this guy John Joseph Smith is a pedophile on the internet. And it didn't involve cops or anything because you can't do anything. You're not a cop. Well, apparently he had gotten really famous under the guise of being this hunter. And like he claimed that he had people arrested and this and the other thing. And this is all very familiar. It's all bullshit. It turns out that this guy never got anybody, and mind you, by his own admission. Now, that wouldn't be the worst part. It would be. No, that would have been the worst part. But the worst part is now he is essentially starting his own anti-pedo cult.
Okay.
He wants to go after this guy named Camden Gerard Davis. We don't know if this is the guy's real name. All we have is like a single video. Well, now that his Discord leaked, there's some more pictures and stuff. But he's a weirdo that had like vampire teeth, and he had a like a werewolf vampire fuck cult. Mind you, this is all alleged because we don't even know if this guy is real. He's just this goofy looking black guy that's apparently convinces these girls that he's a vampire or a werewolf, and he either role plays with them or makes them join his cult. It's fucking weird. It's cartoonish. That's a little weird. It's silly. And MamaMax is like, well, I'm just trying to collect all the girls so we could get the story right, and then we can then give it to the police. But this asshole, and mind you, I'm just going off the top of my head, so I will get some stuff wrong. This asshole was like, he goes to one of the top people on YouTube, Penguin Zero, or also known as Charlie.
Yeah, I know him. Yep.
He was just like, I'm going to expose you for siding with the pedos because you didn't respond to my email. And mind you, this is the second time this fucker did this. He did this thing called Pick a Side YouTube, where YouTube banned one of his videos, or they took down one of his videos. Yeah. No, they took down one of his videos because he had an animated ass. There we go, DMCA'd. Because he had an animated ass on his video, like of a naked dude's ass. And so he took that as, oh, they didn't take down my video because I had a naked dude's ass. They took down my video because they're trying to silence and protect pedophiles. And so then he started turning on like people who didn't want to touch it. And he's like, well, if you don't feel... Right. It was like, if you don't feel obligated to stop what you're doing to do what I think is important, then you're the bad guy. And he was just doing that to people and
Just
thinking that's
random
justified.
YouTube personalities.
Yeah, just random YouTube personalities. And
you don't respond to me, you're bad. Instead of just
it's
ignoring
not
my
the
dumbass.
Yeah, and it's not the psycho that's doing the shit that bothers me. It's the cult of personality that comes up behind them.
Mm.
And when I think about it, it's like he's the people he's gonna get are like gonna be very naive or damaged women. Women who've had things happen to them, who want a savior and haven't done the taken the right steps or have gotten the right support
Sounds like Nexium.
to learn to cope with what they went through.
Sure. Yep.
He's just taking advantage of that. And he was getting paid. He was getting paid for it. So there's a guy, Mutahar, or Some Ordinary Gamer, who I've brought up, I think, in the last episode in regards to Gerard the Completionist.
Yes.
Who's fucking co-starring in this shit too, because he was friends with Max. Going, dude, you're doing this all wrong. And mind you, everyone was telling him this. Make your video, and that will bring your traction. Just make your video,
Right.
that'll bring the traction. Instead, he's debating with people online, saying, oh, I'm going to make the video. I'm just collecting evidence. I'm going to make the video. But never giving any bit of evidence while openly saying this person, who we don't know fully exists, is a pedophile. Exposing this person as a pedophile with zero evidence. Not to mention, there was another guy who collected a bunch of girls who were ex-girlfriends of MamaMax, saying that he was abusive himself. And then going, that's not true. This guy's a pedophile, but I'm not a bad guy just because they don't have proof. Motherfucker! You, by your logic, you don't need proof to say somebody's an abuser or a pedophile.
But if this guy has already been proven to be full of shit, why don't people just assume that this is just more bullshit? You know what he wasn't
proven to be full of shit until recently.
YouTube TLC.
Yes, but here's the thing: internet shit, especially YouTube or Twitter, all that. I don't give a shit if it's politics or not. It is all entertainment.
Oh, of course.
And,
yeah, I mean,
sorry, go on.
No, it's somewhat more entertaining than what you'd see on like TLC or other reality shows, because it's not cut up and chopped up and
for the most part
and directed. It's
definitely more interactive. Is more interactive than stuff like that, and which is fine. It blurs he blurred the line between reality and fiction, but we're allowing for that, and so that's kind of our fault to begin with for allowing that. Once he was like, I was just like, okay, it's really good. He's a really good cinematographer. Like his stuff is really cool. Even though it was really cringy, I do like the overall arc. But if he was a troll, that would have been fine. But now he's like, I'm a legit pedo hunter. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, the guy I've been watching, and it's funny because like my brother's been talking to me about him for like a year. His name's Alex Rosen, and the group is called Predator Poachers. And
yep, I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with Predator Poachers.
Right. So my brother's good friends with this guy, and he's been telling me about it forever. And I finally started kind of watching him, and he's really good at what he does. Like they live stream like every time he goes to meet up with one of these guys they've caught, and they've got all these decoys that get in contact and communicate with these people, and the shit they send them like child porn, and they think they're talking to a minor, and so they've got all this evidence they build up, and then he goes and confronts them, and he's so good at tricking them. Like he went to one the other day that I watched, and the guy was like right away was like, I know what this is. This is this bullshit. You're going to put me on the internet, and you're going to try to trick me into saying that I have stuff, and an hour and a half later of talking to this guy, the dude's just saying everything he's been doing, because he just he did, he tricked him, but he convinced him, like he lied, like he was like, oh, I'm not after you, I'm after the real bad guys, you're just a little fish, but he convinced the dude to just open up and admit to everything, and he's really good at it. And it's really interesting to watch. But like these guys actually get people arrested. Like they have
Well,
actual
I
arrests
don't
in like
know
40 states or
since
something.
the EDP, because I'm familiar with Alex Rosen and I don't like him personally.
Well, his politics are
Um,
not good.
I
But
mean, I don't. It's more so I've just seen the way he acts and things that he's gotten in trouble for before he got really popular
yes,
with predator poachers.
right. He has done a lot of other
Um,
dumb shit, and like I said, his
and
politics are bad.
his politics are bad. He loves being an edgy boy. I wouldn't call him racist per se, but he's definitely edgy on the
Oh yeah,
racial end.
absolutely, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, like I said, his politics are
but
terrible.
for instance, like the EDP 445 thing. If you're familiar with EDP 445, he's this really
Nope.
super fat. Like when I say super fat, I mean like he looks like a globe kind of fat, like
Okay.
uncomfortable in his own body kind of fat.
Yeah, I know I can
Dude
picture it.
who's like a football fan, got really famous for being a football fan and being really vulgar, like extremely gross and vulgar.
Okay.
But turns out he talks to little girls, and he got caught by Alex Rosen. And Alex seemed more instead of just catching them, like that being the thing you should do, he was
Right.
more focused on getting jokes out and trying to like drum up
Okay, so
um
just to comment on that, because I've watched other videos where that's what they do. Like my
yeah.
brother sent me other videos to watch where they're like really harassing the person, which
Yeah.
whether or not you want to say that's okay because the person's a pedophile is one thing, but like they're
Yeah,
legit.
that's matter of opinion.
Yeah, they're legit like screaming at the people and harassing them, and not.
Yeah.
Apparently, he used to do that. I was talking to my brother about it. He used to do that, and he's completely shifted the way he does his quote catches now. He doesn't do that shit anymore.
He got a lot of shit. No, he got a lot of shit after that EDP thing, because
Okay.
after exposing EDP, it was like 2 or 3 days, and people started exposing him. And it wasn't like people that were like 4 pedophiles that were exposing him.
Of course not. No,
it was like, no, he's a bad guy that just caught a bad guy.
Sure.
Like that's what that was, because his heart wasn't in the right place. He wanted fame, and EDP was like one of the biggest names during the time.
I don't doubt that that's not still the case. I mean, I know he makes bank doing these videos. So I don't think I don't necessarily think it's about necessarily catching the bad guys. I think it is more about the entertainment and getting the fame out of that. I mean, it was funny because my brother's been talking to me about him forever, and then out of nowhere I see he's going to be on Tim Pool's podcast, and then he's going to be on what's that guy's name? Richard Knowles, the other fucking shithead right wing guy.
Talking about
one of the other, I forget the guy's name. He was on a bunch of the right wing podcasts, and I was like, oh, okay. So it's funny because I'm like, I've been hearing about this guy for a year. Now he's on all these right wing podcasts, and he's getting some fame. He's really starting to get some cred, some cred.
I mean, and again, it brings back to like the Mr. Beast thing. Like, why should I care what the reasoning is if they're doing the right thing? And the only reason for stuff like that is MamaMax being the exact reason why. He has an incentive. Him and this woman that he has helping him, who apparently was a victim, they have an incentive to lie and by any means necessary catch whomever they deem to be the bad guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's say all the pedo well dries up, and there's not either they wisened up or there's just they caught them all.
Well, that's never going to happen. But the wisened up thing,
but you know what I mean.
I definitely could see the wisened up thing. Like
they have an incentive to now lie instead of it, because usually if you're doing it out of altruism, you're just like, well, I did the best I could. I'm going to now promote programs to helping people who were victimized.
But they're not. They're going to move on to something else.
Yeah, they're going to move on to something else or start making shit up because it's easier and you keep more money that way.
Oh, absolutely. No, I can see.
And that is the problem I have with non-altruistic good deeds. Because it's sort of just like the bum content. I gave this bum $500. Like, why let everybody know? Because you're now making bank on doing that good thing. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. I agree. It's definitely a very interesting philosophical moral question. What whether it's which side of the line it falls. Is it bad? Is
Yeah.
it good? Is it a little both? So it's interesting, but you know, it.
But yeah, the whole MamaMax thing is you'll be interested in looking into it. It's a rabbit hole of nonsense.
I will. I hate going down these YouTube rabbit holes. I always end up spending hours and hours.
I usually feel bad if
like,
I send you some nonsense.
No, it's usually fine. Like most of the stuff you sent me has been like just a couple, an hour, 30-minute video, a couple videos that are not that long. And it's quick and easy. So I don't know. No, I if I'm gonna watch garbage YouTube videos, I might as well be watching something we could talk about.
Yeah. The Cyrax thing, very quick, is super quick. And it's just that I said before how he got... Yeah, right? The Cyrax minute. Oh, come on, guys! But no, Cyrax, just recently, I was surprised when I was listening to it, because I was passively listening to the video. Cyrax once again got caught talking to a decoy underage person.
Oh, God.
Decoy minor, thank you. And it's funny, only because it was so much similar to the last time it happened. When I first heard it, I thought it was just rehashing old things that he did. And it was like, oh shit, he just mentioned Tibbs. Oh fuck, this is a recent thing. And yes, it is an extremely recent thing. And you could tell, like, I said he was a stupid person, and he still is, but he is, his manipulativeness is, he hit all the notes.
This is where...
Well, if you tell anybody, you're going to get in trouble.
Oh, no, you gotta be kidding
He pulled that. Pulled that.
This is where we gotta take AI and fix these people. All right, like I think, again, I have no basis for this, but I think there's probably a lot of these guys out there that are doing this shit that would never take it to the level where they would go and like meet up and do something. There's a lot that would, but I think a lot of them are just so it's like sexual and emotional arrested development where their mind and maturity level is at that age still, and that's the only people they feel comfortable talking to.
I've noticed a pattern with between like people who pedo hunt and stuff like that. People don't want to afford the humanity card to somebody like that, which I completely understand because
I was just gonna say,
by nature they prey on the weakest.
Right.
But I feel like we would be better to mitigate something like that if we studied people like that.
Yeah, rather than let it get to the point where we're just, it's the same with drugs, and all kinds of human maladies. To if we could mitigate instead of waiting until it gets to the point where they're now bad people. But
my
I don't
wife
know.
was watching.
What I'm saying, bring the AI in. Let them get on an AI chatbot and talk to that.
And it can track them. It can fucking send reports like, hey, he hit red flag. He hit a red flag. Yep. I think he's escalating. Might want to
let's get this guy or something. Let's get somebody involved here.
I was watching Law and Order with my wife. I don't really watch Law and Order. I sit on my computer and I can see it from the other room.
Be clear, SVU? Regular
SVU specifically.
I'm sorry.
For me, I know.
I got a brand new episode to watch.
Law and Order for me. Like SVU is just Law and Order. You can say Criminal Intent. That's a spinoff from SVU.
No,
I know that
to me, SVU is a spinoff. Law and Order is the original. And they just started new episodes. So
I know.
I watched every one, and now I got new episodes again to watch. I'm very excited.
Okay.
To continue the Law and Order
on SVU,
legacy.
Law and Order SVU. And I was just, it dawned on me. I was like, I know when we say like crime and punishment, we're just like, well, what about the families? They need to feel restitution. And that's why we do that. It's like, but wouldn't it better benefit everybody if it was crime and rehabilitation, despite what the person did?
Well, I mean,
now I know it makes you feel better and it sounds really fucking messed up. And I'm not saying rehabilitation as in like, well, we fixed them, let's move along. No, because during that rehabilitation, you learn about what made that person the way they were.
Sure. Yep.
And you use that to now see signs in the future.
Well,
to then try to mitigate the amount of times crimes similar to that happens.
Agreed. But if you look into, if you read and look into prison system stuff, that's what they claim they're doing. They say that they're
They're
rehabilitating.
fucking not doing
Of
that.
course they're not.
We
We know
wouldn't have
everybody knows that.
the reoffender like we wouldn't have
Recidivism?
the reoffender rate that we would if they could unless we're talking about like theft or something or having a
Right.
small bag of weed.
Not
You
like
go to prison
pedophilia,
for something.
which is something in
we
your
moved on.
brain. Yeah.
Because we need to
We moved
start
on.
with the non-mental disorder version of that.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, pedophilia is a complete mental disorder.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like,
No, but
a
to your
very
point, yeah.
dangerous mental disorder.
Like non-violent
Um,
stuff, theft, drugs,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Most people and we see this mainly in like gentrified areas or non-gentrified areas. I'm sorry, get the ghetto and stuff like that, where it's just like, well, it's just black men or black people. It's like, well, not only that, like they can't get a job because they either had a violent crime or
Any crime, felony, period. you're done.
any crime really. They have a bag of weed as a high schooler, and all of a sudden now they're just perpetually in the cycle of going to jail, getting out of jail, going to jail,
Yeah,
getting
like,
out of jail, becoming
mostly
worse
legal
because
now.
they have to survive within the jail and they have to live by the jail rules, not
Yeah.
by like just the institution, but by the hierarchy within.
Yeah, the social element of what
Like,
it's like
are
to be in
you
prison.
you're kidding me that they're rehabilitating anybody? They're not fucking doing that.
No,
Nobody's getting.
Obviously not. We know that.
I mean, if that was
And
the
nobody
case,
cares.
like
Nobody cares
Yeah.
either.
nobody fucking
gives a
cares
fuck.
because we're just like, well, they got punished and that's it. And mind you, we don't even give a shit about like the punishment fitting the crime. So if somebody stole something and then they get punished for it, when they get out of jail, they're still gonna get punished for it.
Sure. Yeah. Oh no, it's not gonna
forever.
Yep, forever.
Forever.
Well, they
Unless they got money.
people bring up new laws that, like, I think in New York they wanted to pass, where they, after a certain amount of time, your slate is kind of wiped clean. Like if you've got
Yes.
a felony in the after 10 years, it goes away and you don't have to report it. It doesn't count. And
then what about that? What about those 10 years? What are you going to do for those 10 years?
Agreed, but you don't even get that because you get the people that are just like, no, fuck that. Doesn't matter what they did. That's permanent. And it's like, well, like you're saying, like, what happened to punishment fitting the crime? Like, sure, maybe they got 2 months in jail, but the rest of their life now they've got this fucking cloud hanging over their head, and they could have done something so stupid and minor that's not a big deal. Didn't really hurt anyone.
Really cool. Limited welfare, and this is just me who doesn't understand economics, but limited welfare after getting out of jail. Yeah, getting out of jail.
I mean, that
having
would be
a limited time welfare.
Yeah, that would be sensible.
Like, okay, I can get back on my feet, because jail, if it was a rehabilitative thing, wouldn't just say, here's the clothes we arrested you in, now get the fuck out.
Yeah,
we might pay for a taxi.
There'd be some after the fact program to get you back where you
nobody gives a shit.
No, you're right.
Like you said, nobody gives a shit.
No one gives a shit. They could put up legislation to do that, and I think 90% of the population would just say, no, fuck that. I'm not paying for that. They just would.
Once you flush shit down the toilet, nobody cares about how the sewer system works.
That is a very good analogy. You're right. You're absolutely right. They don't. Once your poop go down the hole, nobody gives a shit what happens to it or where it goes. You're right. Yep. It's terrible.
It's just out of sight, out of mind. And that's how we treat people. And we want to talk all this moralist bullshit. The church doesn't care. The politicians don't care.
Yeah, no.
The people who don't have power are the only ones who do care, because it could be them.
To a degree, or if it's directly affected you and your life.
Yes, and it directly affected you.
Yeah, other than that,
we have little to no understanding of that.
Or you're people like us who are just talking about it and are thinking through it. Then it might come up.
See, I think about these things all the time, but I'll forget about it because it is not part of my actual life.
Sure.
But I will still hold that feeling on it. Yeah, can't do anything about it, so all I can do is talk.
Speaking of weird shit, I wanted to bring up, I think I talked about NHL player Corey Perry getting terminated his contract, and the rumor was that he was fucking the new rookie star's mom, and that's why he got fired. Did I tell you about all that? No?
No.
Okay, all right.
I don't think so.
Corey Perry signed. He's a very well-known hockey player. He's been around the league for a long time. He's a vet, superstar player. People love him and hate him. He's one of those kind of guys. But anyway, he signed with the Chicago Blackhawks this year because the Chicago Blackhawks got the golden ticket Connor Bedard, who's supposed to be the next big thing in hockey, like the next generational talent. So they hired a couple guys to make sure he had some. He's he's a kid. He's small. He's one of those finesse players. So they hired a couple big, tough guys to help him. Corey Perry's one of them. Anyway, a few months back, Corey Perry's contract is suddenly terminated by the team, which means they still owe him the $4 million he's supposed to be paid, but he's gone. He's off the team.
Wow.
And nobody knew why. And then the joke going around the internet was that he fucked Connor Bedard's mom on the mom's trip. Because the NHL teams almost every year they'll have a mom's trip where the moms come along with the team, and a dad's trip where the dads come along with the team on the road. So that was the joke going around the internet. It was fucking funny. People were like, "Oh, that's not funny. That's terrible."
It was
a meme. Funny.
It's definitely a meme. Yeah.
Like nobody actually thought that was the case. It was just funny. I mean, I was like, I know it's not true, but it'd be so funny if it was true because it's just so stupid.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Anyway, so it just kind of went away. And then like a week ago, the NHL said he's allowed to sign with another team. He's not banned from the league or anything. He can go sign with another team. So people were like, okay, well, he must not have done anything like criminal or really that bad, right? So it just came out that apparently what he did was he got a little too drunk at a bar or something one night and made a pass at an NBC employee. And that was the extent of it. That's all they said.
Really?
Made a pass at. Right. So, I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, what the fuck? So Chicago has this thing where about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, there was I believe he is gay. I may be missing some details. I had a gay player who was harassed, badly harassed in the locker rooms and stuff in the team. And there was this big scandal. So it might have been that the Blackhawks were just like anything remotely sexual harassment related, we're just staying as far away from as possible.
So they overcorrect?
They
like
overcorrected.
A preschool?
Yeah. So I told my wife, I was like, I can't. And she was like, well, we don't know what the pass was. And I was like, he was at a bar. Like, even if he said like, hey, nice tits, let's go fuck. Like, I don't think is that bad? Is that not a great thing to say? Sure. But like, can't see that being terminate a $4 million contract that you have to pay out over, it's like crazy. Wow. So but I was just like, wait a minute. It used to be like just ugly guys got, in trouble if they did something like that. But now Corey Perry, the superstar hockey player, get in trouble. What luck do any other men have? And I started thinking about it, and I was just going to kind of lead into our conversation. So maybe I'm making our topic. So maybe I'm making myself look bad, but I was just thinking about it. And I used to like to be able to, if I saw a guy with a nice shirt, be like, dude, I really like your shirt. But if I saw a woman who I thought she had nice hair, like she just got it done, I'd be like, hey, I really like your hair, because it makes people happy. I see women sometimes with really cool fingernails, and I really like nicely painted fingernails.
I've
and I'll
done
be like,
that.
Right. I want to say like, oh, I really like your nails. But then in my head, I'm like, oh, if I say that, does that make me a creep? Does that make me a, am I now all of a sudden being, and I'm just trying to pay a compliment and make somebody smile. Like, I'm married. Yes. I have absolutely no sexual.
It releases endorphins for everybody.
At this point. Right. I'm literally just trying to make someone's day better. But hey, I really like your shirt. I really like your hair. Looks good today. I like your shoes. But like, I feel like I don't feel comfortable making any comment like that to a woman now, because I feel like it's just immediately gonna be construed as you creepy, gross pervert. And I'm just trying to make someone smile.
The internet has made that a lot worse too.
Sure,
because
absolutely.
It signals the big problem with it, because I don't think I've ever run into that outside of a college where like I got the negative reaction for giving a positive compliment. And
God. We could do a whole episode on college campuses, because I'm now reading. I read The Coddling of the American Mind, Greg Lukianoff's book. Jonathan Haidt, Greg Lukianoff, and I might be pronouncing that wrong, has a new book, The Canceling of the American Mind, which is about cancel culture and college campus stuff. And it's just the same shit. And it's just unbelievable, the shit that goes on.
I can grant it. Maybe I had my family with me, but our waitress, she had these really cool blue metallic nails. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, wow, those are really nice.
Yeah.
Nobody thought anything about it. I was just like, those are just, I liked them. They were really cool.
Wait, you said you had your family with you?
My family was with me. We were all eating at a restaurant.
Then that means you're a little less, the person could be a little less on
less threatening.
You're less threatening. Yeah. Right.
But the thought still like crosses crosses my mind. It's still and that was the most recent one. I've done it
Sure.
before where like somebody has like a obscure anime shirt that I happen to know from when I liked anime.
Yeah, and you're like,
And
I
I'm just
really
like,
like your shirt.
oh
Like,
shit,
stop looking
that's
at my
dope.
tits.
Like,
You
that's
know?
not where I was going with that. Maybe not
I
have a
know,
picture on you know what?
And
I'm
like,
just gonna
okay,
walk
let's just
away.
get into the
Like-
topic because this is all related. Let's just go ahead.
It's time
Let's start this shit.
to begin the complaining.
All right, so our topic today is double downers, and this comes out because I was so fucking hot last night because I got into a Facebook argument. And here's the thing: I got into a Facebook argument with somebody that I respect. I think is a really good, a genuinely good person. I've told her this many times. Like, you're a good person because I see like she does like around Christmas. She invites anybody to her house. She'll go and donate gifts. She works at the food pantry, and I've said to her like, you're just a really good person, and I think she is. She's a good person. But okay, so here was I can't directly recall any of this stuff anymore because we are no longer Facebook friends, so I can't go look at it. So this is all from memory.
Shit.
Yeah, so it was my choice.
Okay.
I actually cleansed my social medias a couple weeks ago. I went through everything: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, X, whatever it's called, Facebook, and I just culled everything. I was like, I don't talk to these people; they're gone. Basically, any of my socials other than Facebook, if I was like high school friends, gone from everything but Facebook. If I didn't talk to you and don't want to talk to you, gone from Facebook too. So I culled everything, and I was just like, nope, another person. I don't need to see this crap in my feed. Let me just get rid of it. Anyway, the post was this. It was a repost of a meme type thing, like a little tile that said, the matter, and I'm not quoting it directly again, something along the lines of the matter people get about Taylor Swift, the more I want to buy her album. Something like that, right?
Okay.
And her repost comment was, and again, not verbatim, but basically this: anything that pisses off middle-aged, white, bald men makes me happy 100%. So that was her comment. There was a long line of comments already in the thread.
Personal attack.
Right, okay, so listen. So there's a long line of comments already in there with people like, that's a kind of a dumb thing to say. Like, really, like shitting on her though. Like, that's a fucking
Well,
dumb, like,
because
that's fucking stupid.
no,
You're fucking stupid.
let's be honest here. That was a blatant, like, it was an offensive attack on somebody who, even if they didn't believe anything like that, you just lumped me in with,
right,
like this type of person.
Well, so yeah, so a lot of people were just like, that, you're stupid, that's stupid, blah blah blah. I took a different approach. I can't remember everything I wrote, but I essentially said, the gist of my argument was, hey, I know you, and I'm pretty sure you don't take pleasure in me being angry or upset. So for you to just say any middle-aged, anything that pisses off a middle-aged, bald white man makes me happy is silly. I don't think you actually believe that, because I don't think you actually want me to be unhappy or upset. I think you like me. I think we're friends. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's just a silly thing to say, right? And we went back and forth.
Don't you infantilize me?
No, well, so we went back and forth a couple times, but then the crux of her argument became, whatever. There's two things. Essentially, well, it seems like every time I see a post like this, it's the same type of person every single time. There has to be something to that. I don't know why I'm yelling like she was yelling. I don't know the context. And that's another big thing.
But it came off that way.
Right. Well, people have to, I don't think people are careful enough with the written word, because there's no context, and I think we have to, and it's funny because it gives us more time to think, because we're not speaking, we're writing, we have the time to think and construct it carefully, and we don't. We just kind of put it out there because it's so easy.
We still want our instant noodles.
Right. Yep. And I think we need to be much more careful with how we're typing and how we're writing things, because people are going to take the context whatever their brain tells them to. Anyway.
Yeah, whatever they think the tone of the conversation is what they're going to take.
So again, my response to that was something along the lines of like, hey, maybe, but you don't think there's also, I don't know, like Instagram influencers out there that are jealous of her success and want to be her and are mad that she gets all this credit and notoriety is not the right word, but fame, and they don't, and you don't think there's other people that are just jealous because she's a successful woman and they're not a successful woman? Like, it's not all, maybe even if it's 50%, like, fine. Like, there's always going to be that dynamic where there's a specific type of person or type of group that feels that a certain way. But again, my point was, I don't think you actually feel that way, because I don't think you think you want me to be unhappy. So it's a silly thing to say. I'm not arguing with anything else other than that doesn't make sense. Like it's I don't think it's true. And then she just shut me down, basically said, if you're upset, she tagged me and then said y'all, but she tagged me. And it was like, y'all are getting way too upset about this. If you're upset about this, then you're a sexist.
That's the thing.
And if it doesn't upset you, then you're not a sexist. And
it pretty much is which is funny why she sent that article that you gave me.
Right. Well, we're gonna get to
which
that.
Said not all men.
That fucking article.
Not all men. It makes sense. Like, so, are you fucking serious?
So, well, she posted that was her final response to me was she just posted that article that is basically an article about men derailing discussions on women's issues. And
you didn't derail anything. You were staying on topic.
Well, my response was very simply, you did not say all men. You singled out a specific subset. We were not talking about women's issues in general. I wasn't having an argument with you that there are sexist men who are jealous of Taylor Swift's success and mad about it. I'm not arguing that at all. I am 100% sure that's true. That's not to what just lay it out.
It's like you saw this thing and said, well, if it upsets this type of man, then it makes me happy. Right. That type of man, who is I, messaged you saying, well, I thought we were friends.
Yeah, and I don't think
do you want to upset me? Is that what you... I don't think...
Right. I don't think what you're saying is
far
true.
enough when you posted this.
Exactly. I wasn't saying
like,
you were wrong.
Were you thinking of your dad? Because that was... I'm not your dad.
Sure.
You could just say your dad.
But like, once you shut down the conversation with, well, you're just a sexist. Well, now you're doing a million things. You're gatekeeping and saying, I have no say because I'm a man.
That's just screaming racist at that point. That's just screaming Nazi. That's just...
like, But I'm okay. Whenever we hear about terrorist attacks in the United States, what is it? It's usually an extremist Muslim group, right? Like, well, okay, maybe not so much anymore, but for a long time.
Well, in the 90s, it was just a crazy white guy.
Sure. Well, and now it's gotten to that.
And then they got pushed over to being like Middle Eastern brown people.
But like, you got people like Sam Harris that go, yeah, there's these religious extremists in Muslim culture that want to kill Americans, so Muslims are bad. Like,
Muslims are bad.
When somebody says that, like, you go.
Can you not say, well, not all Muslims? Is that the correct thing to say then? Because
like, that's stupid. It's not a valid argument. It doesn't make sense.
Because then by her logic, they are guilty.
Right. Exactly. So that's my point. So this article starts off with, I read the full article because I was like, okay. But again, this is not the argument.
I was getting actually pretty angry.
Well, I'm just gonna skim
because it was.
I didn't say you were wrong. I didn't say that there aren't men who are mad at Taylor Swift for being successful. I didn't claim that that's not true. I didn't claim there isn't sexism in the world. Oh, I forgot the best part. She also said to me, if a black person came up to me and said that my people were responsible for systemic racism and all of the, the maladies they have to face because of racism in this country, I would just say, I'm so sorry and do whatever I could to help them. And my response to that,
I'm sorry, hold on. Right, go ahead. Okay, yeah, I'll let you finish. First, and then I'll.
So my response to that was, whoa, hold on. There's a big difference between acknowledging and taking responsibility for. Yes, absolutely. I agree. There's systemic racism in this country. It comes from a long line of people being racist and sexist. Both of those. Did I do that? No, I didn't fucking do that. I'm not saying I'm sorry I did it. I didn't do it. I'm sorry you have to deal with that in this country. And I will be happy to speak out when I see wrongdoing, and I'd be happy to do whatever I can to make it better. But I didn't fucking do it. I'm not taking responsibility. Yes, there are sexist men in this country. Yes, there is sexism in this country. I'd like to think, look, when I was younger, I was Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I had Catholicism in me. I rooted that out. I definitely had racist tendencies and thoughts in my head, and probably sexist too, going back. I know that stuff existed, maybe
we
thinking.
We all do.
Everybody does.
We all have it.
But
especially because we're in America.
Right, everybody does. But I like to think I have done my best, and I'm continuing to do my best to root all of that out and get it out of me. And actively.
And her saying some shit like that is basically saying everything you're trying to do to improve yourself and be the best person you can means fucking nothing.
Fucking matter, right? So that's
Unless
why
you strip all the clothes off your back, whip your children, turn them into slaves,
so
you will never make it up to black people.
right. Right. And again,
Which was derailing the argument.
It absolutely
Sorry.
derailed the
Sorry.
argument. Had nothing to do with what we were talking about. Again, I wasn't even claiming that sexism isn't a thing and that it's not that it's bad and that it's not bad that there is sexism in this world. I know that women online.
You were bringing up that specific
Right.
situation that she started.
I fucking know that women online in this country, any woman online has to deal with some dickhead messaging them saying, "Let me see your tits." I know that exists. I know that sucks. I know it's frustrating.
The nightmare of women having to deal with dick pics.
Right.
Okay.
Let's
be real here. First of all,
I think it's bad. I don't want it to happen, but I'm not going to apologize for it. I am not the one doing it.
First of all, I know chances of her randomly hearing this or knowing somebody who does hear this, maybe they will. I'm going to say this. Lady, do not use me as your shield. I deal with that shit way too often, especially on the internet. Some white lady, yes, I'm going to just glob you all in since that's how you want to think.
But you're right.
Uses me as a shield for your problems. Don't do that. Just don't fucking do that. I could not agree more. That.
Like, I knew when I told you that part, you'd be like, you're using me now to justify your shit?
I'm not all black people, but the only people I know who are black who do that are people who have who like to just try to get a leg up no matter what the source is from.
Yeah.
Those are only people because it takes away autonomy. I saw this documentary recently that brought up the case that, well, it's the problem with liberal racism. It's like, oh, well, it's because they don't know better. They were just never given a good chance to be smart enough to understand that they could do these things. That sounds cartoonish, but that's exactly what you're fucking doing.
No, you're right. And it's hilarious to me that they don't recognize that that's the case at all. It's so funny that when when really left liberals say stuff like that, they genuinely in their head think they're doing the right thing, and not thinking about the fact that they're like you said, infantilizing people.
Yep,
making it seem like people don't have any self-worth or ability to bring themselves out of their situation. It's just.
Those crazy conservatives don't think they're doing the wrong thing either. They think the way it was back then was the way that it should be now.
Agreed.
Matt Walsh, I saw a video earlier today before we met. He said that surrogacy for gay couples, surrogacy shouldn't be a thing. You should never have a surrogate child because it's better to have a child lose a limb than to have them have a same-sex
parents.
family. Parents. Wait. Hold on.
I hate that guy so much.
It's not natural. Mind you, he's saying the most irrational, emotional shit. He's giving such emotional arguments. He's just saying it calm. But he's literally out of his fucking furry ass mouth, and it is an ass mouth. He essentially goes, the default is that they don't procreate. It's not natural for them to have it. But then, a child could be born with one arm. Well, motherfucker, is that natural or is that unnatural?
He tried to have this conversation with Joe Rogan.
You use nature on both ends, you piece of shit.
Yeah. He's these conservatives that go out and preach these Judeo-Christian values that our nation was quote unquote founded on, because apparently that they think that's true, which is not.
Yeah.
And that's
they indoctrinated themselves into believing is true.
And they they cherry pick which pieces they like. They don't like the slavery parts, but they're okay with the abortion parts, the no abortion parts, and they're okay with the not hate. Maybe not.
Mind
hate.
you, that not being okay with slavery parts is recent. Is very recent. Sure. And they wipe it off by going,
or incest.
Well, it was it was the times back then. Well, we used to marry 12-year-olds. Well, it was the times back then.
It was the times back then, or it was a metaphor, or some dumb bullshit they come up with to justify it.
Like, are you fucking serious?
But I have never felt more politically homeless than I did last night when people that I agree with on a lot, probably a lot more things.
Not looked up to, but
I did. I did absolutely look up to, but it agreed with probably on a lot more things than I disagreed with. And again, not trying to argue against the core original post, the meme. Just her post. Like, I don't think that's what you think, and that's what people are trying to point out to you.
Because you showed your intent, and your intent was to do harm.
Apparently.
You literally said, I'm choosing violence, and then didn't listen to any of the feedback, and you thought that everybody was just going to be okay with it, or you just wanted to kick the bee's nest?
To try to have a conversation and then just be shut down with you're a sexist. And it's funny because she had another comment at the end of the thread that was like, oh, hey, I know we disagree, a lot of people in this comment thread and me, but hey, we're all friends and I love you and we're allowed to have different opinion and have lively debates. And I was like, not with me. You just shut me down and posted an article about how I'm a man and I shouldn't talk about sexism, which is, again, not what the fuck I was talking about. Not what I was talking about.
Yes.
And even if we were talking about that, am I not allowed to have any opinion because
because you're a man.
And then
you're a man.
She also, this is why I did the unfriend. This is why
because men have had opinions for hundreds of years, and that's why. See, I do pull the black card on that one though. I went, oh, so men always had control, right? Not that black men were just a commodity, right? Like we had less rights.
Yeah.
And we were killed way more often, killed way more often.
Sure.
But yeah, no, we definitely, we're men.
Hey, look.
Like you could say, and I'm not saying that to pity me. Don't fucking pity me. That's not what I'm saying. No, I'm saying if we're going to do the woe is me Olympics,
hey, look, I know you're saying that. I'm pretty sure the haters listening know your point of view you're coming from. But, it's just, I was just so disappointed that
that's
not only was my point just completely misconstrued, but even if we were having a legit argument about sexism and Taylor Swift, like even if we're having to just shut me down and be like, you don't get an opinion, you're a man, was just like, come on, man, like that's so infantile.
You see what you're doing. You're doing the thing you don't want done to you.
Yeah, like I mean, come on. Like, so she immediately after that posted a video of this dude basically saying the stuff that was in the article. That was like the next thing in her feed, and then she posted a thing about. Oh,
Barbie. She used it where a guy's saying it because a guy wrote that article, I think, too.
Yep, guy wrote the article too. Again, this article is 10 fucking years old, by the way. 10-year-old article.
Fucking. First of all, you know how many disingenuous dudes, especially journalists, quote unquote, because they're on the internet, who do that shit, who write these absurd,
of course,
fucking articles,
just for the clicks, of course. But again, just 10 years old. The world is different now than it was 10 years ago. It's not so to quote or to give me a 10-year-old article.
Yeah, sorry, you were trying to go through the article.
Well, I'm just saying it's 10 years old. Like the world's and look, there's 6. Are things getting better? Yeah, I believe last I saw, it's like somewhere around 40% of corporate boardrooms are female now. That's awesome. That's great. CEOs is still like way off, like 90-10. Like a lot of work to do there. But things are changing. Things are improving. People messages are getting out. And I think I should be allowed to talk about that to a degree. But she also posted about, I kept seeing these posts last night about Barbie was nominated for Best Picture, but then the director, Greta Gerwig, who's obviously a woman, did not get nominated. Margot Robbie, who played Barbie, did not get nominated, but Ryan Gosling, who played Ken, did get nominated. It was, this is exactly what the film was about, the patriarchy. And I was like, I thought it was about a toy that came to life. But
I'll be honest, let's be real here. There's a movie, I forgot what it's called. It's a really shitty, like super feminist movie where it's just a bunch of women in this Bridesmaids Tale type of world.
Okay.
Sitting down yelling at this man who decided he's going to write their articles.
Okay.
He's going to write like their experiences. And it's literally like, it's based on misery porn of a real girl's like rape in like the Middle East or something like that. They based like this fantasy on, and it's pretty much, they're all just talking down to the dude, cussing him out. Like telling him to shut up and like do his writing. He's like, yes, ma'am. Yes. He's just doing everything for them in this like broken world where like men, it's pretty much like Bridesmaids Tale, how awful it is, but way more on the nose.
Right.
And and that movie, I think got awards. I'm just like, the people who vote for those type of movies love that shit.
Oh, absolutely. So, and like,
so
look,
just,
there was a few years ago, there was a big humbug about there weren't any black actors nominated, if I remember. And then the next year it was like all black winners.
And like
they're
one step behind, and they're all patting each other on the back anyway.
That was my other thing I was gonna say. When it comes down to it, though, who fucking cares? This is an award show with a bunch of fucking famous rich people patting themselves on the back. We're not talking about college admissions. We're not talking about jobs. We're talking about a bunch of rich people patting them. Who fucking cares what Barbie got nominated for? Is that really fucking important in our world today? No, it's not fucking important. Same thing with Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift. I like her music. I like her business ethic. I like that she writes and creates her own songs. She's got somebody writing them for her. I like that she's
not just ghostwriter.
I like that she fucked over the music industry and said, "Oh, you got the rights to my records. Well, I'm just going to re-record them and put them out again, and then they're mine." I like that she fucked over the movies industry and said, "I'm going to put out my concert myself and not give you a gigantic cut of the money I should make for a concert I did, filmed, and recorded myself." I love all that stuff.
What she had to do.
What I don't care about is whose dick she's riding. I don't fucking care that she's fucking Travis Kelce and that that's all that's on the news, that she's at the Chiefs game in the box. I don't care.
I didn't know who she was dating this time. So.
I didn't either until I happened to watch the Chiefs-Bills game the other night because I do like watching playoff football games because one team gets really sad when they lose, and I like watching them sad that they lost a game. Makes me happy when I see them crying that they lost a game. But they show her in the box and they're like, "Oh, there's his Travis Kelce's girl." And I was like, who cares that who she's having sex with? I don't care. Yeah. Why is that something anybody in the world cares about? Why is that on our minds? There are more important things to worry about. So, I don't have to go through the article. It starts with talking about how some incel killed a bunch of women because women wouldn't sleep with him.
That's as far as I made it because I knew about there's 3 incel killings that are really popular.
But that's
once I read that I was like, why would you apply
that? What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, that's always going to happen. There are rednecks out there that are going to kill black people. Him? There are Muslim extremists that are going to kill United Americans because they hate America. There's always going to be these things,
and we're not going to ever. We never should just apply that to all of them. So it was in these forums. Yeah. I'm sorry. First of all, the whole incel thing was started by a woman.
Sure.
The initial incel bullshit was started by a woman. Yep. Not by I can't get a woman. A woman started the fucking forums.
Right. Yep.
If you read...
I'm saying that I knew that, but I didn't know that.
Yeah. Don't look at these fucking articles and be the first thing you look at. No, actually go in. And the fact that it is a thing on the internet. If a fucking server, an important server goes down, nobody has internet anymore.
It's also on slate.com. I mean, this isn't a New York Times article or post of the journal. But
it's so fucking stupid.
A lot of people like to respond to these things by saying, not all men are like that. Well, we know that. We don't need you to tell... I wasn't saying not all men. I was saying not all white, middle-aged, balding men hate Taylor Swift.
You narrowed it down.
You narrowed it down to that group and said that you wish harm upon all of these types of people. I'm these types of people. Why do you wish harm upon me? What did I do? I didn't do anything. And okay, so people like me. Maybe a large percentage of people like me are the ones posting on that on the internet. Why do you hate? Why does that mean I get punished? Or you want? Like I said, same argument with Muslim extremists. You can make that argument with a million things.
Well, that's the thing. Here's the thing. She's like, well, there's so many of you out there. They're okay, well, how far is the narrowing going to be before it's just you?
To me, it's
how about she treated you differently? And she could have she simply could have just said, "Oh, I'm not talking about you." She could have simply said that.
Could have just said. Even if the post was just like,
I was just trying to be funny.
I like when sexist men get mad about this. I would have been like, yeah, cool.
Or she could have done what I would have done, and because you already know how I would have responded to you. It was like, oh, go fuck yourself. Now I know you guys weren't that close in that regard, but she could. Knowing me,
honestly, she could have posted, "Oh, go fuck yourself," and I would have just been like, haha. So anyway,
yeah, because
but this art then it's we don't need you to tell us, and it's defensive. Okay, well, again, I wasn't talking about sexism. And yeah, I was defensive because you're singling out and saying you attacked me. The
response to attacking is defending.
You didn't attack men. If you wanted to make a generalization about men, that's fine. People make It's like saying all conservatives are racist or all lefties hate hate baby.
Whenever
like
I
to
make
kill
fun of
babies.
conservatives on here, I do that Southern voice. I don't
Right.
think all conservatives are Southern.
Sure,
I
like,
live in the North.
it's
Like,
not
I
the same-
know there's conservatives here.
It's just not safe. But again, and then it goes on talking about how you're sidetracking the problem. It's not about men, you know, and like when a woman is walking down the street, she doesn't know which group you're in. If you're a bad, I get that. I get all that. I get you go on a date.
I'm aware
but
of
that,
that,
you know,
yeah.
you can, and I don't want to derail the argument, but that could apply to anybody too. I mean, I could be walking through down
Yeah.
the street in New York City, and I don't know if somebody's gonna mug me or not.
Well,
you know, like
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
it
She
could apply to
just
multiple
justified
things.
something really kind of fucked. She justified something really kind of fucked. If a woman's walking down the street, she doesn't know what kind of man you are. So she just justified every white woman I've passed on the street and when I was living in the city that clutched their purse. Or every car I've walked by when I heard the click of their fucking door.
Yeah.
Oh, I've dealt with that at least 7 times in my lifetime.
Yeah, if you brought that up, I don't know. She probably lost for words because, again, super liberal. So then
I'm
also,
a
oh,
black
shit.
man.
Yeah.
Stereotypically, we're violent, dumb, and hurt people and rape people all the time. So let's go.
It's a good point.
Like,
And again,
you just justified that.
and again,
With that statement.
I understand all that. I understand that that's something that women have to deal with, and I get
Yeah.
that.
That's
And
why
there
we
are
don't
other
do
people,
that shit.
You know, you have like this is a I'm not trying to say these are apples to apples, but like I'm sure when cops are around, you're a little more clutching your pearls.
I'm
right?
a little nervous.
You're a little
most
more
of
nervous
the time.
when you're around cops. But again, that's like it's the same argument. Saying all bald white men do is like me saying like all cops are evil racists. Like it's just
Yeah.
like what are you doing? Like just like think about what you're saying and realize that it's just not accurate, and that's not what you
Realize
mean.
that you have people in your life that fit the demographic you want to like attack, and understand that if you want the violence to stop, maybe not be part of the cycle.
Oh,
And
God.
yes, that if you want to use that is a violent type of talking that upset you
And then
to a point where you felt like you had to say something.
this article then just goes into privilege. Of course, I am privileged.
I'm not. Yeah, just yeah.
I'm not even going to entertain that part of the article because I'm not going to get in an argument about privilege. It's just I'm not.
Once it brought up, I think I messaged you going, "Is this talking about incels?" And I couldn't read anymore.
That
I
was
just
because that was the
fucking
beginning.
done.
The beginning was about
I was so
an
fucking
incel
done.
killing women because nobody would have sex with him. And like I don't even need to get into that. I could have a whole discussion about that and that like there's a dichotomy there between men and women and sexual availability that I don't need to get into because it's stupid to talk about.
Not to even mention some of the incels, it might not be the one that they're talking about. There was this 40-year-old incel who wanted to kill people. He was not a bad looking dude. He had money, he had drive, but he was probably autistic.
Right.
And extremely socially awkward, like to an upsetting degree.
Okay.
And it was like, so he wasn't an incel because the forums made him. He had problems.
Sure.
And he was also an incel killer. These people, just like you, convinced themselves that the whole world's their enemy, Slipknot reference, and then decide, well, fuck it. I'm just going to make an enemy of everyone I come across that fits the demographic that upsets me. So again, feedback looping that same stupid fucking thing in our tribalistic thing in our head that makes us do and believe stupid shit.
Mm-hmm. And not to say that I don't want to say act. I'm sure
we're all guilty of it. We all do.
Of course. But it's just, like I said, I've always thought, I definitely lean very left. And then the more I'm online and the more I get shut down in an argument like that, I'm just like, no, I guess that's not my home either. I really don't have a home. You don't have a home and you don't need one. No, I don't.
That's the thing. That's what I like. You don't need a home.
But I've always,
I know.
We talked about this briefly last night. Like in 2016, I started going, wow, so there's some really fucking lunatic people on the right. And then around 2021, 2022, I started going, wow, there's some really fucking crazy people on the left. And like we know, like everybody knows in this country, there's these two extremes. But I always traditionally thought of the left as the good guys, like in my head. Like they're the ones that supported science and wanted people to be equal.
They're still part of the gray blob.
But they're not anymore. They're just not. They're not.
Nope.
Because that's not the case.
They both want to lean into like totalitarian control. Both sides. One wants to control the way you act. Wants to.
Sorry,
go on.
No, you go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say yes, both with moralistic justifications for their actions with completely
Yes.
different outcomes.
Yep, that's what they want because they're both like referring to each other into that like Fahrenheit. I was gonna say Fahrenheit. I think it was called Fahrenheit, but the what was it called? 1984.
1984, and there was Fahrenheit
1984.
451 too.
They both accuse each other of doing that.
Yep.
I'm like, yes, because you're both.
They are both doing
it.
that. Yeah, you can say that the other people were doing it while you're doing it too. Like it's not a binary situation here where only one group's allowed to be crazy at once. You can both be fucking crazy.
The first sign you could tell that somebody is indoctrinated is when they double down.
Yeah. We didn't even say
when they double down. when they first, you did.
Oh, I did.
When you couldn't get the music to play.
Fucking goddamn.
You could tell. Actually, with that stupid Mortal Kombat argument I was having, he doubled down and made absolutely no sense when he doubled down.
Yep.
I was like, well, there's no point in engaging. I cannot engage with you.
Once you double down, you're just saying, I refuse to accept any opinion but my own. I refuse to accept any information that
any opinion that doesn't agree with mine.
It doesn't agree with mine. But not even accept the opinion.
Because it's not necessarily their own opinion. They might just be reflecting something else.
And not even accept any justification or any attempts at justification. And that's like I told you, I'm reading The Canceling of the American Mind now, and a lot of it has to do with college campuses, which of course has really come up a lot lately with the firing of Professor Gay, whatever, I forget her first name, of Harvard, the president of Harvard. But reading in these stats where it's something like liberals outnumber conservatives on college campuses, and as far as professors and administrators, like 6-1 or something like that, and the culture is overwhelmingly liberal. And like 5 years ago, I would have been like, good, that's what we should be teaching. But it's completely shut down now, where you can't have a contrary opinion. And that's what college is supposed to be. It's supposed to be where a meeting of the minds comes and you mull all these different theories and thoughts over, and you're not allowed to do that at all anymore. You can't go into a college campus and talk about affirmative action or gay rights or transgenderism or any of these things and have a reasonable discussion. I'm not talking about Matt Walsh going up there with his dumb garbage bullshit. I'm talking about actual intellectuals that have degrees and know what they're talking about, to have an opinion and go and talk about it and say, here's another side of the argument. It just gets immediately shut down and doubled down.
Who
and
wants to push constructive discourse. Yes.
Exactly.
Wanted to push constructive discourse.
They double down. You're banned from campus. You're not allowed to come here and talk. You're fired. You're kicked out of the classroom. You're kicked out of the college. It's just 100%. They have doubled down on that as well. And it's crazy. Some of these, and it's a lot of anecdotal stuff as far as the cases, but it's an overwhelming amount of anecdotal stuff. It's not a couple. It's hundreds of cases of professors and other personnel and other people being shut down and fired because of just the dumbest shit. I'm not even talking about
asking a question. Just asking questions.
Like
gets you into trouble.
Having a paper where you're in a class that's discussing, it's on topic, where the professor is talking about slurs and doesn't write the slur but puts N blank and F blank and gets fired because of that. And it's a question having to do with this discussion.
And that leads right into past erasure. Like now you're erasing things that happened in the past.
Absolutely.
So somebody put up a scene from What's Eating Gilbert Grape, which is one of my favorite movies.
It's a good movie.
I used to love that movie as a kid. It broke my heart. Broke my fucking heart. And like I had people were making comments, or at least people were making comments about the "don't go full retard" that the Robert Downey Jr. joke.
Tropic Thunder.
I was like, and I was like, that doesn't apply here though. Like it doesn't apply to this movie because he played a mentally handicapped person, but it wasn't a parody. He actually felt like the character. Gilbert Grape was a person to us.
You're not mocking. You're not making fun of it.
It's not mocking.
Acting. It's acting. It's fucking acting.
People can tell. That's why Ben Stiller, like, you missed the point. You clearly missed the point if that's like what you think. Now, mind you, when I wrote it to somebody, I said don't go full R. I didn't say what it was.
Sure.
I just said R. Mainly not because I have a problem with saying the word, which we've heard in the history of this show. It's a part of like my vocabulary.
Right.
But I was being respectful. I'm on the internet. I don't want people like freaking out at me, and I don't want to offend anybody.
Sure.
And then my nightmare happened. Somebody then asked, they asked, what does "don't go full R" mean? So I'm stuck in a dilemma.
Look it up. Google it.
I'm stuck in a dilemma because I want to give the right information. I don't want to just like.
Yeah, you don't want to just.
I don't want them to have to look online because they're not going to. And they asked a question. So I said, "Fuck." So I went, "Fuck." You know what? I'll bite the bullet. Well, and luckily,
honestly,
so
that's
far
what you
I have
should
not
do.
gotten a problem. Nobody's giving me a hard time on it because I said it.
We've talked a lot about context, and my daughter said "bitch" last night in the context she was reiterating. She said, "I think my son was watching the video and they said bitch in the video," and I don't don't scold her for that because it's in context. You're not just saying the word.
The context makes sense.
I mean, she's allowed to curse around just me anyway because I'm not going to hold her to a higher standard than I hold myself. Like if it's just us, she can curse because I can't. I'm not going to say I'm allowed to curse and you're not because I can't justify it. If I could justify it, I'm like that sounds silly because there's lots of things you tell your kids to do that you would do, but I can't justify that one. So anyway,
for me, it's an age thing.
There's also
like as the age comes, the
no, that's true. There's a really good phrase in the book, and I can't remember it now, but they essentially talk about applying, today's moral standards to things of yesteryear. It's the same thing, like taking a movie like that, applying today's moral standards to a movie that was made in the 90s is just you can't do that. You can't. No,
not at all. Not at fucking all.
It just doesn't make sense
because people do that. Remember when people were trying to get rid of Robert Downey Jr. because of Tropic Thunder?
Yeah.
Again, completely. I realize that is one of the most misunderstood movies I have ever seen in my fucking life. People just don't fucking get it.
But so many people can't, like, a lot of black actors were like, no, dude, it's not the same. Like, you're not interpreting it right. There's nothing to be mad about there.
Like, we were actually surprised because we would have thought Robert Downey Jr. was a black guy.
I know, he was good. He was very good.
He was really good. Although, it was really funny. I saw a meme yesterday, that was just like, if they replace Robert Downey Jr.'s as Iron Man, and they made him black, who would they get? And they just put Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Just like...
That's good.
He would just be himself.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
But... really quick, so another doubling down thing. Are you familiar with what's going on with Cat Williams?
A little bit, not the full story. I've only seen bits and pieces.
I think it's Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp, yes.
Who's a good interviewer.
Yep.
Had Cat Williams on, and he did what Cat Williams does. He gossiped and said it very intellectually, whatnot, right?
Yep.
And people are bringing up something he said a long time ago that, and this is a myth, and it is a weird myth in like black entertainment spaces that, I don't know if it's a myth. I'll say that it's a pattern that borders on myth.
Okay.
That, to become successful, if you're black, you have to wear a dress in Hollywood. Once they put you in a dress, you sold your soul. And
I see the pattern. Yada, yada, yada. I get it.
Yeah. And I mean, and so, like, Dave Chappelle said he wouldn't do it, and Kevin Hart at one point said he wouldn't do it, and then he ended up doing it.
Let's see.
And people are bringing it up.
Eddie Murphy obviously has done it. Wayne's brothers have done it.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Wayne's brothers. Yeah.
I see the history.
And so a video comes up about because the Marlins defending against that statement, and just like it puts you put on a dress. That's not a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And defending it, and people are just like doubling down on this statement that you sold your soul. You're wearing a dress. You're wearing a dress. It demasculates us. Well, okay, it emasculates us. Well, okay, let's talk about this real quick because I can't deal with this, and I think I got blocked for this one too because I can't find what I said.
Probably.
But it was like, okay, so you mean to tell me that you think way less of all these men because they wore a dress at some point? All right, so Cat Williams, who's a buff little dude,
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody making fun of the fact that he wore a dress except for this thing right here, and even then they didn't give a shit.
What did he wear a dress?
Okay, he on SNL, which like
Okay.
everybody wears a dress on SNL.
Yeah, that's very common.
Then we have the Wayans brothers, who made a classic film. They were also in whiteface
Right.
while wearing dresses.
Yep.
No, even Marlon still seems pretty masculine. People like he played a crackhead
Dude,
in
I mean, just-
I forget the name of the movie, something Dreams.
Just to generalize and say, like, if you wear a dress, you're not masculine at all. You can't possibly be masculine.
That white Hollywood is using it to emasculate.
Oh, doing
black
it
men.
intentionally. Okay, all right.
And it's like a subliminal thing. It's
Right.
like
Okay.
it would have never crossed anybody's mind.
Until you
Like never would have crossed anybody's mind unless you were saying it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, Cat Williams, who I love all the comedians I mentioned on here, never wore a dress. Does not seem like the most masculine man.
Not really, no.
Let's just be real.
He's a little guy.
Cat Williams does not come off masculine
It talks
to me.
like this.
With his straight hair, his effeminate hair flicks on stage,
Yeah.
his extravagant belt buckles and glittery, like flamboyant outfits. He basically looks like a RuPaul character, but yeah, sure. He's the person we want to follow with the masculinity thing. Not to mention, what he did is way more detrimental to the black male than a dude just wearing a dress. For instance, for the whole beginning of Cat Williams' career, and actually for a good chunk of it, he almost exclusively on stage and in films played a fucking pimp.
Yes, he did a lot.
He played
that was
a
his
fucking
persona.
pimp. That was his whole persona.
Yep.
He went so far as to having a real pimp as his sidekick, or supposed real pimp as his sidekick. I'm sorry, pimps objectify women, are highly flamboyant, act like women them goddamn selves, hurt females, not just by objectifying them, just hurt them in general, are a leech on society. But you mean to tell me that is more dignified and is to be looked up to more than just because some dude wore a dress in one movie sometime?
Nope.
Or played a gay character. Kiss my black ass.
Agreed. I'm not that part.
Like that's
I don't have a black ass.
no. It's
Mine's
stupid
very
as
ghostly
fuck.
white.
It is stupid as fuck. And these people, like, they were arguing with me, and I swear they fucking deleted my comment or got rid of me.
Probably.
Because I was just like, that's really dumb. Like, you can't cherry pick and then say they are cherry picking.
That happens all the time, though. It's not uncommon.
You just can't do
People
that.
love
And
doing
this
that.
is a dumb thing to follow.
We could do a whole episode on cherry pickers.
Yeah, we definitely could. It's really, it drives me crazy how somebody can say something, be flat out wrong, which, funny enough, loops back to MamaMax because he was called out on it and refuses to take responsibility. Even in his video where he says, I'm going to take responsibility, he shirks responsibility on everyone else, uses the one victim girl as his shield, and then hugs her at the end of the video as if he's exhausted from all this fighting he's doing, when everybody's saying, just do the goddamn work, and everything else will follow if you are sincere in telling the truth. Show evidence. Don't just claim things. We are telling you exactly what needs to be done, and all you're doing is doubling down and then acting like you're the fucking victim.
Agreed.
And there's way too many people that do that.
No, you're absolutely right. It's just like I said, I used to feel like it was the right that did that all the time, and now it's the left that does that to me too, and it's just frustrating. I hate not being able to have conversation. I like debate. I like arguing. Obviously, we like complaining. But I'm
too agreeable.
I like having.
I can't argue with you.
We don't argue because we agree on a lot of shit. We both are reasonable human beings that are willing to be like, oh, maybe I'm wrong about that. And it's just, unfortunately, it's not. And I'm not saying I do it all the time. I'm sure there are definitely instances in my life of doubling down. I know with my wife in particular, she would probably be able to give you a half a dozen examples of me doubling down in conversations or arguments or debates or whatever with her. But It just sucked. Like I said, somebody I look up
No, it
to,
does.
somebody I thought was.
It sucks when you lose a friend
I
like
still
that.
think she's a really good person. It's just she picked a stupid thing to get mad about.
I think. No, here's the thing. A lot of people tend to feel like it's like you see their true colors. I have a feeling it's more so. Again, it's like a brain. I call it brain rot because it's just the easiest way to call it.
Yeah.
Where like you either had a bad day or you have some bad ideals that you're not willing to challenge.
Sure.
And you just apply it to other things.
No, agreed. I mean, it's not the first time
because
too.
I like to hope people want to do be the best person that they can be.
I had to unfriend another person not that long ago, and it's not unfriending like I don't want to be friends with them. It's just I don't want it in my feed anymore. Because again, very 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 liberal friend of mine was just constantly posting stuff about Israel being terrorists and killing the Palestinians and being terrorists themselves. And I think we briefly touched on that last night too. And I had to unfriend that because it's like, I can't keep seeing these posts about how, again, I don't understand how you can't say, yes, there's a history of violence and oppression by the Israeli people against the Palestinians. But at the same time, I also am going to say that terrorism and murdering and raping and beheading innocent women and children is wrong and bad and never is justified. Yep. I don't know why you can't think both of those things at the same time. Like you have, I have a feeling, pick one, and that's it. And again, I was like, I have to get this out of my feed.
My personal moral stance is once you behead somebody, you've definitely became a villain.
Dude, once you behead somebody, once you rape somebody, once you kill a child, you're a villain. You're a villain.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
absolutely.
And it's never justified. I don't care what the circumstances are. That's just not justified. It's never justified.
Again, that's justifying 9/11 at that point.
Right.
There's people who say Hassan Abi. Hassan Abi said we deserve America deserved 9/11. He said it fucking openly on his fucking stream. And there are people who believe that. And he's the top paid Twitch political speaker. That is something he fucking said with his chest.
Look, there are people, I think that's ridiculous, but I would listen to someone make that argument. I would listen to the argument and then be like, I listen to you. You're still stupid.
Yeah. Because guess what? No, if you said the American government deserved it, the attack on the Pentagon, that's the only one I would maybe go, I'll listen to you on. But those people in that fucking building.
Yeah. Well, I just want to be clear.
The buildings.
I'm not saying that I'm.
We're not.
I think there's any justification, but I'm willing to listen to your stupid argument.
Neither one of us are saying that.
Yes, I'm willing to listen to your stupid argument
as a conversation. Because I'm willing to even hear Nazi conversation because I want doesn't mean I'm going to agree with any of it.
No, it's more I'm willing to listen to anybody's point of view or if they are being what's the word I'm looking for? Truthful. If they're just bullshitting me, if
they're being disingenuous in their fucking arguments.
Then that's
they're
one
being
thing.
Disingenuous. That's the problem. And a lot of those things they can't be genuine.
But if you
want their argument,
if you want to try to justify the Holocaust to me, I'll listen to you because fine. I want to know how your brain works. I want to know how you get to that point and understand how somebody's brain could work that way. Not because I'm ever going to agree with you, but maybe I'll learn something and figure out why you think the way you think. Maybe. You know what?
It allows.
This is a stupid argument. It allows for
a better chance. No, it allows for a better chance for you to interact with people who think like that, because it's not like they're going to go away.
Well, yes, that's a stupid one to bring up because I probably would never waste my time with that. But I've listened to Matt Walsh speak.
Again. They can't be genuine.
Right?
They can't be genuine, so it's hard to really.
I have listened to Matt Walsh speak or Ben Shapiro. Or,
Matt Walsh is disingenuous as shit.
He is, which is why I don't anymore. But I'll listen to these right wing guys. Not because I'm going to agree with them, because I'd like to know how their head works and understand where their point of view comes from and how they come to these. I'm not going to ever agree with probably most of the stuff they say, but I'm interested in how they get to their point or their thought
I think
process.
That's why I'm almost incapable of doubling down about outside conversations, like things that don't have to do with me personally. Like I will double down on speaking bad on myself. I know that's a bad habit I have.
Of course, I know you.
But when it comes to talking about any of these conversations, I can't really double down
Because you have a thirst for knowledge, because you're willing to better yourself, because you're
Like-
you're open to opinions, because you're
and-
willing to be wrong. You're willing to be wrong. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
And I find that being a trait that you have, and that's why I feel like even though we're not subject matter experts by any means,
No, not even
we
close.
just kind
We
of
don't fucking know
bullshitting.
shit.
We have a genuine want and need to hear information and get the correct information, or at least as close to correct as possible.
Oh, absolutely. I always
to make informed opinions.
that's what it boils down to. I always want to make sure I have an informed opinion. I don't ever want to just take one bit of knowledge or information and go, okay, that's right, and not ever hear the other side or the other argument. Even if I'm 99.9% sure that I'm not going to change my mind, I still want both sides. I still want to understand. And there are so many things that are not black and white. We've talked about them on this podcast, where there are very black and white stances on it in this world, and we don't see them that way because it's not feasible to have a black and white view on this. Just like Israel-Palestine. It's not feasible to have a black and white view. It's just not. It's stupid. It's stupid to be able to say, I wholeheartedly agree with this or that. It's just dumb. There's no, it doesn't, anything in the world, is there ever really that polarization or that binary of level of anything in this world, or is there always some middle ground? Not just political.
Marvel versus DC.
All right, with that, we're done. Thanks for listening, guys. Go listen to the website. It's not gonna play. I'll push the button, but it's not gonna play. ATIWIHY.com. Okay, and then that's it. Go check us out. Send us the mail.
We'll try to be more
regular
on top of
these
regular,
podcast
like
releases are like my bowel movements. They're just very irregular. Definitely not. took me a week and a half to get my stool card to the doctor. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying this.
Before we finish, so Matt had decided, because I saw him once a couple weeks ago, decided to buy me a Christmas gift.
Oh yeah,
I was expecting him to bring Spider-Man 2.
Oh, I still will give that to you
because my son was asking.
I will still give that to
you. And he gives me this box, and it says Tushy on it.
It's a very well-known brand. I thought you might recognize it.
Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, I've heard of this." Took me about a week to install it.
No.
I installed it. I had to go get an O-ring just in case if you ever have to install a Tushy. It's really awesome, but I had to install an O-ring because it was leaking.
Oh, okay. Did it come with one?
It did, but it wasn't good enough.
Pipe tape?
No. Pipe tape didn't work. Okay. And I don't want to tape the outs. It wasn't the strip. It was still coming out. Once I put the O-ring in, it stopped.
Okay.
So, few things I had to learn about a Tushy. One,
I mean, I didn't give you
the water's not heated. It didn't click in my head that
you can get the heated ones, but then you got to figure out how to get a hot water line over there, and that's just
no, that's what I'm saying. It just you don't.
And it's winter.
Things I didn't think about.
It's been 10
if it was summer, I would have never thought about it until
I probably should have warned you about the cold water when you first do it. You get used to it, but in the winter, it's pretty cold on your bones.
I wasn't bothered, but I definitely my wife was like, "I'm not using it. I'm not freezing myself to death."
Honestly, it's not that bad once you've done it a couple times. And you expect it, you're like, it's fine.
Yeah, I had to get used to the new shape of my toilet seat because it's angled down just a little bit.
Oh, okay, I didn't have that problem. I don't know why.
And lastly, did
you put the risers? You can get bumpers for your toilet seat to lift the front end up a little bit.
No,
I thought it came with
didn't,
those.
but no.
All right, you can order them online. You get little bumpers that kind of raise the front of the toilet seat a little bit so it's even.
See, information.
There you go. Yeah, they're like $2 on Amazon.
And I had to get the angle, not the angle of the water sprite, my body.
Where you
angle.
put your ass on the toilet, yeah,
exactly where you sit.
Well, here's the problem
and then just kind of move a little bit.
If you put it at just the right angle, it literally just gives you an enema. It just squirts right up your ass.
Yeah, no, I've learned that too.
And then you just fart out poop water. It's disgusting.
So gross.
You gotta kind of clench a little bit. I clench just a tiny bit when I'm doing it so it doesn't shoot water right up my loose asshole.
But lastly, oh man, that threw me off. No, but no, learning to do all of that stuff, I have to say, and the fact that the instructions literally passive aggressively says, well, if you can't just sit around and let yourself air dry, you may need to be able to use some toilet
It's
paper.
a little toilet paper.
Like, fuck, I'm not air drying with cold water on my ass.
I take little tiny piece of toilet paper. And
just little
blot it
and
dry.
just pat.
Yeah, it takes 2
Yeah,
seconds.
it's just like
This
this was an adjustment.
It is,
This
but
was
it's
an
amazing.
adjustment, but it's
I've been doing it for years
and
now.
I appreciate that.
I don't have to buy wet wipes anymore or anything. It's the most amazing thing in the world. I would never. I don't think I could use toilet paper at this point. I would be
it's.
I would feel like I was using my
hotels
hand.
are going to be really tough.
Oh yeah, I would literally feel like I was using my hand if I had to use toilet paper at this point. It'd be like going back to that like third world country type shit where they do use their hand.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoy
it.
it.
The only reason why I'm bringing this up is because we didn't have our poop talk quota met.
Well, there it is, guys. All right. See ya.
Peace. Yeah, I took his thing.
Oh, you did my piece.
Oh,
okay.
I did.
Yay.
I mean, can they hear us under the music? I don't listen to the episode.
Well, I'm just going to put this at the end of the music. So you saying peace will be at the end of the music. All right. Bye, guys.
Cool.
Peace. I said it too.